A massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, especially these days. 8 different settings, adjustable intensity, plus it's heated, and it just feels so good. Yes, a massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, but when it can come with a car, suddenly it seems quite practical. The all-new 2025 Volkswagen Tiguan, packed with premium features like available massaging front seats, it only feels extravagant.
Let's be honest. Shopping, not my thing. I go to the store, there's a lot of people that, it's just not my thing. It's not football, all right? I spend way too long scrolling websites just looking for something simple like a nice pair of jeans, and I'm either overwhelmed by all the choices or can't find anything my style and end up with stuff that doesn't fit and doesn't work. That's why I use Stitch Fix. You just take a quick style quiz, share your size, your vibe, and your budget, and boom, you're matched with a real human, stylists who handle the rest. They take care of the work for you. They send you a fixed box with clothes that actually fit and make sense for your life, work, weekends, whatever. It saves you time. You look great, and you don't even have to think about it. That's the best part. It's no risk, all style. Try it all on in the comfort of your home. Keep what works, send back the rest. Free shipping and returns, always, and no subscription required. Plus, get a free try-on for your first fix. Get started today at stitchfix.com/podcast to get $20 off your first order, and they'll waive your styling fee. That's stitchfix.com/podcast.
This podcast episode is brought to you by Coors Light. These days, everything is go, go, go. It's nonstop hustle all the time. Work, friends, family, expect you to be on 24/7. Well, sometimes you just need to reach for a Coors Light because it's made to chill. Coors Light is cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged. It's as crisp and refreshing as the Colorado Rockies. It is literally made to chill. Coors Light is the one I choose when I need to unwind. So when you want to hit reset, reach for the beer that's made to chill. Get Coors Light in the new look delivered straight to your door with Drizzly or Instacart. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Hi, Blue Wire listeners. I'm Greg Olson. I'm excited to partner with Blue Wire to bring you TE1, a podcast where I interview the tight ends who have revolutionized the position. Listen in as I have raw, in-depth conversations with the all-time greats like Shannon Sharp, Tony Gonzalez, Travis Kelce, and George Kittle. We'll explore how the tight end position has changed over the last 60 years and what it takes to be the very best. Subscribe to TE1 from Blue Wire Studios today so you're ready for the August premiere.
They bring the double at Booker. Book on the spin, fires for the win! Got it!
Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, now you do.
Oh! 2 days ago, we were on the mic and we said, we'll be back next week unless something crazy happens.
Something crazy happened.
Something crazy happened.
Something really crazy happened. Not just a buzzer beater.
No. So much more than that.
A career-defining moment for a player that is blossoming into just potentially the greatest Phoenix Sun of all time. Obviously not yet. Has to get to the playoffs first, but trending in that direction. And a buzzer beater heavily contested over two of the greatest defenders of our era. I'm at a loss for words. An amazing performance by Devin Booker tonight as the Suns continue with the magic and are now 3-0 in the bubble. 3-0
in the bubble in a very, very unlikely way. They've been favored for one game, and they did win that game, but they went on to win two much, much more difficult games against two very good teams. Dallas being a team that still wants to win, and the Clippers, they were trying in this game, right? It wasn't
Absolutely.
like the Nets beating the Bucks where Giannis didn't play the whole second half, basically, and it was just a fake basketball game. This was real. This was a team attempting to win, and this was Devin Booker taking it personally in a way that we haven't seen. He finished the game with 35 points, 8 assists, 4 rebounds, and only 25 shots. Incredible, incredible performance. By the way, only 2 turnovers, which I think is important to point out for Devin Booker because he has struggled in some games with turnovers. In this game, he had 8 assists and 2 turnovers against Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, who were his primary defenders because Patrick Beverley, who started the game against him, went out with some sort of hamstring issue. That means that he was matched up against maybe the 2 best wing defenders in the NBA. I'm not even sure. I guess Giannis is there too.
No,
He kinda does everything.
Giannis totally has an argument, but yeah, what he did tonight is insane, and just the Suns also defensively preventing Kawhi and Paul George from getting anything going all game long. I thought your brother said it best. For anyone who didn't see the tweet, I'm just going to read out the text he sent you, which is, that's a finals contender, people. They turned PG-13 into E for everyone. Credit to him, because I thought that was really funny. But yeah, man, Devin Booker continuing. This is the 3rd game in a row. The stakes just keep increasing with every performance as he takes on better and better teams. But I just calculated the stats because they're not even updated yet. So far in the bubble, he's averaging 30.1 points, 4 rebounds, 5.3 assists, 47% from the field, and 45% from three-point range. He had 6 threes a little over halfway through this game, and he ended the game with 6 threes, wasn't able to hit that 7th one, unfortunately, but obviously did end the game on a crazy note. And it wasn't just the buzzer beater either. 30 seconds before that, he had a clutch mid-range bucket.
ISO,
he had, I don't have the shot chart in front of me, but he had like 4 clutch mid-range, heavily contested baskets in the final 4 or 5 minutes of this game. It was just insane.
And he started out extremely well from the 3-point line. And then he took a knee. I think this is important to remember. He went knee to knee with Zubac, and he was down on the ground for a while. In fact, he spent a little time walking back to the I don't know, is there a locker room? I guess there's probably a locker room. To check on him, he stayed in the game, hit a few shots, but was struggling from mid-range a little bit after that. And then the 4th quarter came, and he picked it all up again, and he finished him off in one of the most impressive performances of his career. In fact, recently we passed 5 years with Devin Booker. You and I did a podcast about the biggest moments that we could think of from each season of Devin Booker's career. We chose the All-Star appearance from this season. I don't know. I almost feel like this is more impressive. It's just so unlikely.
It's one game and it's 10 minutes later, so I don't want to get too carried away, but it depends entirely on the context of the Suns actually have a chance now. A week ago, there was a very good chance that they weren't even going to get this far. For them to start 3-0, and by the way, they've officially passed the Sacramento Kings. They've officially passed one team in the standings, at least for now. They're now the 12th seed, and they're 1 game back of the 9th seed. Potentially, it could get even a little bit closer, I think, if Portland loses to Houston in a couple of hours after we record this. So they have a chance at this point. Like, it's a real chance now. They're not the favorites by any means, but if the Suns go on and actually somehow get all the way to the 9th seed, then yeah, this moment is going to be remembered very, very fondly, not just by Suns fans, but by everyone nationally for a very long time. And as proof of that, just take to your Twitter feeds, if you have one after the game, the instant thing that I noticed is not just the media outlets covering this, not just the Suns fans going insane, but the number of players who were going out of their way to praise Book. And I think we saw this to an extent when he made his first All-Star appearance. Players like Damian Lillard came to his defense and talked about how big of a fan they were of his game. And now you saw it again. Bradley Beal talked about how much of a bad man he is. DeMarcus Cousins gave him a shout-out. J.J. Redick gave him a shout-out. And to me, that's just evidence that players, which is the important part, are taking notice of what the Phoenix Suns are doing in the bubble right now. And that's very important. It gives the Suns an actual reason for them to be there beyond just trying to make the playoffs, which obviously they want to do. But even in still the 95% chance that they miss the playoffs, people are taking note of the resilience and the fight in their game. And if they rack up enough games like this, there are going to be more free agents who want to come and play with Devin Booker. There are going to be more players who are open to trades to Phoenix to go and play with Devin Booker as well.
Yep, that's right. And I think Devin Booker, obviously the storyline right now, but how impressive Ricky Rubio has been, how impressive Mikal Bridges has been. Mikal Bridges, by the way, the reason Devin Booker had an opportunity Basically, the Chris Bosh rebound, right?
Yeah.
The famous Chris Bosh rebound that allowed Ray Allen to tie up the finals. That was kind of what Mikal Bridges did here. But in true Mikal Bridges fashion, it was a steal because that's what he does. Because the Suns had a chance to win, Booker was trapped. He dumped it off to Ayton, who found Rubio in the corner. Rubio missed a short shot over Paul George.
Shot.
Yes, a wild shot, I think, looking for a foul, which is something you can't do in a last-second scenario, just period. You can't really do it. And then the Clippers got the rebound. Zubac got the rebound. Mikal Bridges somehow deflected the outlet pass, and then the whole game changed from there. Devin Booker with the shot clock winding down. By the way, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard both on him, turning over his left shoulder, which is a difficult thing to do, and taking an insanely difficult shot, mid-range shot, and then swishing it. I mean, all of this was very impressive, but I think you're right. I think the most encouraging thing about the 3 games that we've seen so far, one, of course, they still have a chance to make the playoffs, and it just, that goes away so quickly as soon as a loss comes, if it does. But making an impression on the NBA when there's not a whole bunch of games happening at a time. At most, there's 2 games happening at once. This game was on NBA TV, a rare thing for the Phoenix Suns. To be able to do that in a time where everyone is watching, I think is important for the team going forward. If you're Christian Wood at home watching right now, not even in the bubble, right?
Exactly.
And you're watching this. If you're Danilo Gallinari and you're watching this, like maybe
Davis
it becomes
Bertans and you're
Davis
watching
Bertans,
this.
right?
Just there are going to be free agents out there this offseason who the Suns need to try to attract. The training facility is a great start. But ultimately, you want to have the personnel that players are comfortable playing with, and Devin Booker's the type of face that just Phoenix has never really had before.
Yeah.
Not since Steve Nash, at least.
Sports are coming back, and so are your chances to bet on your favorite teams and events. Major League Baseball is finally kicking off this week, and there's no better place to start wagering than our exclusive partners, Bet Online. Check out all the odds, futures, and props to bet on, all available 24/7. And with the return of sports, Bet Online sat down with former pro players Eddie George, Harold Reynolds, and 7-time NBA champ Robert Horry. See what they had to say on what it'll be like to play without fans in a series they're calling Fandemic. Visit betonline.ag for all your odds and up-to-date sports news. Remember to use promo code BlueWire to receive your new welcome bonus. That's promo code BlueWire, all one word. BetOnline, your online wagering experts. Have you ever heard of DealDash.com? It's the best, most honest bidding site where you can win things you'd never expect at a price you'd never believe. They have over 1,000 auctions every day on electronics, appliances, beauty products, home decor, and even cars. Here's how it works. It's like an auction, but every item starts at $0 and only goes up 1 cent every time you bid. The kicker is that auction clock restarts after just 10 seconds. That means every time you bid, someone else has 10 seconds to answer or the item is yours. If you go ahead and buy now, Deal Dash is offering our listeners an extra 100 free bids upon sign up on top of their other discounts. Go to DealDash.com and use the offer code TIMELINE or DealDash.fm/timeline. That's DealDash.fm/timeline. The funny thing about this game, I went into it thinking, okay, Cam Johnson's got to do some work offensively because he's probably going to get burned on defense, and he did, to be fair. But he went 1 for 5 from 3. I'm not blaming any of this on Cam Johnson here. I think it's a difficult game. Even when Cam Johnson is missing, his spacing provides something important to the Phoenix Suns because of how quickly he gets his shot off and how tall he is. It requires a defender to stay close to him at all times. But DeAndre Ayton was 1 for 2 from 3. Devin Booker was 6 for 9 from 3. Mikal Bridges was 3 for 4 from 3. And Ricky Rubio was 3 for 4 from 3. Even Frank Kaminsky made a 3 in this game.
A 3 that I remember we really needed. I think it was a 1-point game at that point. And it was late in the third quarter. The thing I was going to say, Frank only played 8 minutes, and Javon Carter only played 10 minutes in this one.
Yeah.
In our last
almost
episode,
a 7-man rotation.
Exactly. Our last episode, we talked about how Monty had trimmed it down to an 8-man rotation, and it surprised us a little bit. In this one, it was basically a 7-man rotation, and I think the two guys to credit there, Cam Payne and Dario Saric, both of them have been consistent in all 3 bubble games so far. And I don't necessarily expect that. Like, I don't expect them always to both play well in every game. But when they do, I calculated it again. Dario's averaging 14 and 7 off the bench in the bubble so far. He's shooting 56% from the field. Campaign is giving you 10, 3, and 3. He's hitting in rhythm threes to generate momentum for the offense every game now. And as long as those two keep clicking, you can survive on a 7-man rotation when every game is an elimination game. And just kind of take this and keep the status quo. Maybe keep Javon Carter in there for 10 minutes a game, so it is kind of an 8-man rotation for the hustle. I think Javon Carter's been really good in that sort of limited role. But mostly the guys who are actually out there kind of closing out games and playing upwards of 20 minutes, that's going to be 7 main guys. And I think we've solidified who those guys are at this point.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think you're right about Javon Carter. I think Javon Carter obviously was excellent in the previous game against Dallas, but in this game, basically Monty Williams just kind of sicked him on Lou Williams and just kind of said, "Go get Lou Williams, stop him at all costs, chase him all the way down the court, full court," and that's what he did. And I think that's important to do. And I think it's another reason why Javon Carter is still a good third guard. Like, I would like Javon Carter to stay on this team in the future. Maybe the role he's in right now, where he's sort of behind Campaign as far as ball handling, is where you can keep him, especially if he hits threes. He's still struggling a little bit to hit threes in the bubble so far. But I think that it's nice to have somebody like that you can just unleash onto specific offensive players and just harass them for 5-6 minutes at a time.
No, I totally agree. But it's a team effort too. And, I think Campaign has been also just really good at that. I don't know that there's a player who's consistently closing out to contest shots harder than Campaign that I can personally identify on the Suns right now. I guess Mikal Bridges, but outside of Mikal Bridges, he's been that good. And there were some lineups in today's game where Devin Booker went to the bench, and I thought, oh fuck, here comes the run, and this is going to be it. And lineups of Campaign and Javon Carter at one point is what I think they had out there. They were able to hold on to the lead with just that because of how much those two were hustling and applying pressure on the ball in the backcourt. It was actually really impressive. But I do have a question for you, Mike. Something I noticed in this game, the Suns really did a lot of staggering of lineups with Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton. And in this game in particular, it worked because of how efficient DeAndre's mid-range was. Like, this was a game where it was really on. But if you look at that shot chart, like, that's most of what he was doing. He wasn't taking dribbles. Again, he shot the ball 18 times and only had one free throw attempt. So in this game, it worked. There were those lineups where Devin Booker was off the floor and DeAndre Ayton was really the anchor point for the offense. And I thought the Suns were going to lose it, but it worked in this one. Do you have any opinions on how DeAndre Ayton was playing offense in this game?
Well, one thing I will say is the Clippers are so good at blowing up pick and rolls, because what was happening fairly regularly in this game is Rubio and Booker, their minutes were also staggered a bit as well. And that meant that when Booker was out of the game, a lot of the time with DeAndre Ayton on the court without Devin Booker was shared with Ricky Rubio. And it's so difficult to play a pick and roll when the defenders are Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, JaMychal Green. Like, there's just so many of these guys that can blow up pick and rolls and make it really difficult to get shots close to, like, catch, the type of lobs that we like from DeAndre Ayton. So I think that this is a specific team that makes it difficult to do the kind of things that you would want to do when an offense is now centered around a Ricky Rubio, DeAndre Ayton combination. So I don't like that. I don't like a lot of the mid-range shots. I genuinely believe that if all of those mid-range shots came from the three-point line, I wouldn't be super mad about it, because it seems like at this time he's still being left almost completely wide open from the three-point line every time he catches it.
Yeah,
there.
Well, the one that he made, he was left alone and he had to hesitate, and then he took it after he hesitated and still made it.
And the one he missed as well.
Totally. And the one he missed as well, they don't believe in his ability at this point. So he has to prove them wrong, for sure, because teams are going to keep playing him like that.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, I don't want to downplay this in any way. The amount of things that had to go right in order for the Suns to win this game almost felt like a Disney movie.
Well, this and that's why we are so proud of this team. right now.
Right.
Because it does feel like a Disney movie. Make no mistake, the Phoenix Suns are not a better team than the Los Angeles Clippers. If they played 100 times, the Clippers would probably win 70 or 80 times.
Yeah.
But today, in this specific instance, the Suns showed fight and they were the better team, and it would have been so easy for them, especially because the Clippers, the Clippers got off to a good start in this one, and they were up by like 6 or 7 points very early in the first quarter, and the Suns started the game shooting like 2 for 10, and their shot clearly wasn't falling. I don't think Cam Johnson or Mikal Bridges, either of them, got a single shot to fall until like the second or third quarter, probably the second quarter. It would have been so easy for the Suns to just curl up in a hole and die. And like that would have been it. And their playoff chances would have been, they wouldn't have been literally mathematically eliminated, but it would have been very, very close at this point. So for them to be able to battle back, and it took both Booker and his offense being on in the lineups that he was in, but also Ayton carrying the load offensively in some lineups when Booker was on the bench. It took everyone working together.
3-point shots were dropping. Some of the Clippers shots were not. Like a lot of the 3-point shots were not.
25 assists to 8 turnovers. Like that's a thing that the Suns have normalized this year. That's not normal for NBA teams. 25 assists to 8 turnovers. That's a ratio of more than 3 to 1. That is not normal for teams to do that. The Phoenix Suns are like the only team in the NBA that does that.
Yeah. Frank Kaminsky was a +8. That's the type of thing that happened in this game. In order for it to,
I didn't notice that.
I mean, yeah, because he was. It's so brutal to watch when he makes mistakes. They're so glaringly obvious that it's hard to do. And I will say this. It's really a shame that this team has so few games this year where everyone was healthy, because if you look at the shortened rotation that we're now seeing, you just picture some of those minutes that even Cam Payne, Dario Saric, Javon Carter, Frank Kaminsky, you picture those minutes eaten up by Aaron Baines and Kelly Oubre. In a short rotation, this team is pretty good. Like it's a little deeper than you would have anticipated. And one of the reasons the Suns struggled with depth so much this season, one of the reasons the bench was so bad, was a 25-game suspension by DeAndre Ayton, immediately followed by a really difficult injury by Aaron Baines that not only knocked him out, but knocked his 3-point shot out for a few games when he finally came back, along with difficulty from the point guard position, as we all know. Now that the sort of staggering has worked out and Cameron Payne has sort of he's solidified, I don't want to use that word too confidently, the backup point guard position, it's interesting to think about how the rotations would look if they were fully healthy. I don't know when this ride is going to end, but it sure is fun so far.
It's so fun. It's the perfect ride so far. And I think even if the Suns weren't doing this well, I'm really glad to see how successful the bubble has been as an experiment so far.
Yeah.
And just the idea, normally we have Summer League in the summer in a normal year where there isn't a global pandemic. But if you gave people normal kind of midsummer basketball like this, no matter what the teams are, they would get into it. And that's why you're starting to see, like, the Suns are the fun, scrappy underdog story of the league right now. And you're going to start to see a lot more mainstream attention coming from kind of all sides for as long as this streak continues. So we're going to go into Thursday. It's going to be a crazy matchup against TJ Warren and the Pacers.
Yeah, that's right.
And we'll see. They've got all the momentum right now, and that's what's sexy in this league. So we'll see if they can keep it up.
Yeah, shout out to the NBA for making this incredibly exciting. And shout out to Devin Booker, because not only was he incredible at the end of the game here, I think that anyone who knows anything about this team and about the NBA and about the Clippers knew that if the Suns were going to have any chance to win this game, they needed a superhuman effort from Devin Booker. And you could tell from the moment that game tipped that Devin Booker understood that, and he understood the responsibility that he had to this team. And to be able to perform with that kind of pressure is incredible. We're very lucky to watch it.
It's insane. I mean, I came into this game thinking that they needed a superhuman performance from someone else. Because I thought, asking Devin Booker's an amazing talent. He's probably the most well-rounded scorer in the NBA. But asking him to drop 30-plus on Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, I thought it was just too much. I was expecting him to come in. I was hoping for 20 or 25, and then I thought to myself, if we're going to win this game, Ayton needs to give us 25 in this game, or Rubio needs to give us 25, or Cam Johnson needs to hit 8 threes in Marcus Morris's face. Something crazy needs to happen. None of that even happened. Other players played well, but for Devin Booker to rise to the occasion and be the guy once again for the Suns, there should be no question of his impact on winning basketball at this point, I hope.
Absolutely not. Do you have any other thoughts before we end this one?
I think that's it. This is going to be a short one. It's just our initial reactions to the game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And stick around for the ride.
Yeah, who knows?
It's really fun.
Maybe we'll
and
have
it doesn't last forever.
Maybe we'll have to record one after the Pacers game too.
Maybe.
Booker, this is for the win. Got it! Wow! What a shot.
Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, and Thomas Hearns. Legends, whose four-way rivalry defined one of the greatest eras in boxing history. Relive their decade of dominance in the new Showtime sports documentary, The Kings, a 4-part series premiering Sunday, June 6th, only on Showtime.
This episode is brought to you by Ro. Confidence is everything. Women can sense it, and trust me, they love it. But if you're in your head worried about performance, that swag, unfortunately, gentlemen, it's gone. Roll Sparks keeps you ready. When the moment hits, you can step up like a superhero and handle your business. No doubt, just confidence.
Fellas, Roll Sparks gets you ready fast, dissolving under your tongue and working in 15 minutes on average. No waiting, no missing the moment, plus it stays active up to 36 hours.
So when the mood hits, you can go back to back to back, round after round after round. Ro connects guys with medical provider 100% online, so there's no awkward conversation with in-person providers. Go to ro.com/sparks to see if you qualify. If prescribed, new sexual health patients gets $15 off Sparks on reoccurring plan. Connect with the provider at ro.co/fourth to find out if prescriptions Ro Sparks are right for you. That's ro.co/fourth for $15 off your first order. If approved, treatment ships directly to their door. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, and or manufacturing review. For full safety information, go to ro.co/safety info.